There's no date on there, but you can see they are old. There's some wealthy person who owned that originally, or who had that built. Good morning, folks. Another camping adventure. We are going to the island of San Francisco and the city centre of San Francisco Do Sul, the historic town. We will be visiting there also. This is apparently the oldest town in Santa Catarina. A lot of history to it. But anyway, it's pretty fresh this morning. It's only about 10 degrees centigrade. So for me, it's pretty cold, this is. It's a Monday morning. It's about 9:30 at the moment. I have come off the main dual carriageway. Now, most people going to this San Francisco would continue and take the main highway. Now, I've come off because I'm taking the back road, the scenic route. This place here, which I'm in at the moment, is called Itapoa. And then we're continuing to a town, a fishing town called Barra do Sul. So it's like the South Sandbar. It's actually Balneario, Barra do Sul. So we'll go through the town. I'll do a little bit of filming through there just to show you. And continue to San Francisco. Beautiful little spot. Here, look. You get a lot of people here at the weekends, all the way up there, look, parking spots, and they come here fishing. Do a bit of barbecuing also, you know, have a picnic, enjoying themselves. Nice little spot. Well, we've arrived at Barra do Sul. Now this town, as I said, it's a fishing town, but there's a lot of tourists come here in the season. And it's well known, it is, for the hyena, the mullet. You see in the background here, look. The giant mullet. Because apparently the biggest catch of mullet in the season was here in Barra do Sul. I'll tell you what, it's really windy, it's like a ghost town. So let me just show you around to the river, down there to the port or to the dock. All the fishing boats are down there, so that takes you out to sea there, look. You've got a beach over here. A lot of tourists come here for the beautiful beaches. It's not that beautiful, well, it's beautiful, but you're not going to be doing a lot of sunbathing today, that's for sure. The beach goes all the way down, that's where I've come from. Over there in the distance is Barravellia, and that island there, the last time I came here I was speaking to some guy. You can see there's an house on there and there's a few on that place. Native people still living on those islands. Okay. I am heading over in that direction to San Francisco, right over there. But I've got to go all the way around the town to get there. So look, there we are, the giant mullet. So here we are, look, a memorial. 1962, here there was more than 14,000 fish caught in the nets, mullet. Okay. Remember, this place was famous for the biggest catch. There's a few guys here fishing, look. Really choppy today and cold. Anyway, I'm going to continue now, get through the town and get on the road to San Francisco, and then we'll actually pick up the main road into the place. So let's crack on. So here we go, we've got the port here, look, where all the fishing boats are moored. In that direction there takes you back to where we come from, the mouth of the river going out to sea. And you've got a lot of shops here where you can buy your seafood. Can you see those white tents down there also? They stalls where they sell seafood. They're doing all the repairs on the boats here also. So this is it, I'm going out here now, turning right. So this is down the bottom end of the town basically. Well, here we are folks, I've arrived, look. Camping Familiar motorhomes. So I've opened the gate and let myself in. As you can see, it's mainly for motorhomes. They've got all the individual lots there, parking lots, and also around there with electricity and water, all of them. They've got security cameras all the way around. So let me just close the gate. Now, water there, a couple of tables and stools here. Storage. You've got this covered area with a plug socket and a light to put a tent. There's a toilet here. And a little sink. So this is a nice little spot here. Maybe I'll put my tent there. Under here also. You've got another table and stools. A sink there. There is a kitchen, but it's locked at the moment. And then here, 2 bathrooms, male and female. Very nice and clean bathrooms. There we go, look. Hot water shower. Very clean. We've even got sun. As I say, there's a tank there. There's the ladies' toilet. A tank there for washing clothes. All the power points and taps. So yeah, they've got space here for 10 motorhomes at least. And the other side of those houses there is the beaches, or the beach and the sea. So then folks, we're in the middle of a neighbourhood, 2 rows down from the sea. It's actually just as you're going onto the island. As I said before, it's on the south side. I went past the turning off actually. You come off the main road and must be about 15k ride down to this place. I rode straight past the turn off. I went quite a way out of my way actually, but I spoke to someone and they gave me directions. They said go back, so anyway, I'm here. That's more important. It's been really chilly coming here. It's nice in the sun now, but it's out of season obviously. There's not going to be a lot happening, but that's not important. It's just a bit of a break for me and to get to know a few more campsites. So anyway, I found this on Google. I spoke to the owners yesterday. They open all year round because a lot of them aren't. They're not open all week. If they open all year round, a lot of them are only open at the weekends. So They open all year round. He said, well, when do you want to go? And I said, tomorrow, actually. He said, well, we're not there at the moment, actually, because yesterday, the 10th, Sunday, was Mother's Day here in Brazil. So there was visiting family in Blumenau. He said, but not a problem. Go there. The gate is open. Explained about the bathrooms and the water and the electric and everything. He sent me a little video, actually, showing me the place, and he said put your tent under cover, any of them places which I've just shown you, or on the gravel here. I'll go there, under there. So I don't know whether they are coming. He never mentioned anything about paying him and nothing like that, so he said just help yourself, make yourself at home. So he said, oh, it's very secure there, it's all fenced off, as you can see, and there's the cameras here. Seems a quiet neighbourhood, actually. That's no problem. So what I'm going to do now, get my gear set up, and then I'll be back with you. Alright, we'll have another chat. Well, I've got my tent up, and I've put a tarpaulin sheet there, which I bought with me to stop the sun shining on the tent and give me a little bit more privacy. So I'm almost set up anyway. I'm just making a little bit of food, a bit of a snack. So homemade bread, fried egg, there's another one, and a bit of olive oil. The only thing is, as I mentioned, the kitchen isn't open. I'm assuming the kitchen's in this container here. They did mention about the kitchen being closed, but no problem. I've got my own cooking gear, which is always handy in emergencies like now. And I'm going to make a cup of tea after that egg. I've got more bread, which I bought with me. Yeah, fresh homemade bread. So sit down, have something to eat, and a nice cup of Charlie, as they say in Nottingham. Right folks, I've had something to eat, so we'll go for a ride now. Go to the historic town of São Francisco do Sul, the oldest town in Santa Catarina. Have a ride around there, show you there, alright? Anything else, I'll take you down to the beach here also. As I say, it's just behind those houses there, onto the main drag through the seafront, big beach. Have a quick look there, and anything of any interest in the town, I'll show you there also, alright? So let's get going. Well, here we go folks, 50 yards up there to the left, you see a yellow sign on the corner. Turn left there, 3 houses up, or 2 houses, is the camping. And here we are, right on the seafront. Literally 2 minutes, maybe less than 2 minutes. So this road goes all the way down the seafront, down that direction, and up in that direction there. And there we go, look, an entrance onto the beach. Praia do Ervino. Hey, some beach that is, all the way up there. 4 islands out there. 2 islands there. I think those islands there, the ones we was looking at when I was in Barra do Sul. Yes. Certainly, yes. So there's native people living on those islands. Maybe on those also. Definitely those. So anyway, beautiful place. This reminds me a little bit of that down south near Rio Grande do Sul. Arroio do Silva. Reminds me a little bit of that place. I imagine the land here is pretty cheap also, compared to more central. I mean, decent plots of land also. Look at that one there, and the campground also is a decent sized piece. So anyway, we'll get going. Nice place. I can imagine in the summertime it's really busy down here. See, there's one there for rent, look. Right, let's go. So here we are, folks. We've arrived at the beginning of the town, the historic town of San Francisco do Sul. All these colonial houses, a lot of them up there in ruins. Hey, look at the pavements, the roads, out of the stones, calçadas. So this behind me here, absolutely beautiful, eh? This is Bahia Babitonga, so the Bay of Babitonga. Okay, beautiful, eh? Apparently there's lots of different species of fish in here. Dolphins. I don't know whether they get whales in here also. Maybe. Look here in the water. Beautiful. So let's have a walk up there. There's a port here also up there. So we'll have a walk up there to the historic town. Well, it must have been about 25k here from where I'm staying. Bit of a run, but as I said before, it's quite a big island this is, and I'm right at the beginning of the island, on the south side. So, not a problem. I need to get to know as many of these campsites as possible. There's a lot on this island, but the others I contacted were closed. Opening on Thursday till Sunday, one of them. And over the other side of the water in San Francisco, another one I contacted. Like a little farm. A sitio, what they call a sitio. So like a small farm with waterfalls, forest, look really nice. He only opens at the weekend, out of season, but it was really nice. I said to him, well, I'll have to come at the weekend then sometime. I try and avoid going camping at the weekends, I've mentioned before, because normally very busy, but I'm gonna have to go. Not a big problem at all, but beautiful now it is with this sun. I've had to put sun cream on actually, because this morning riding here with the sun beaming down on the visor, on the helmet, and the cold wind, I feel burnt actually. So there's one for sale here. You fancy that, eh? Overlooking the bay here. Can you imagine looking out onto that every morning? Eh? Turn it into an hotel or something. Guest house. Now that one there on the corner, I know the owner of that. I'll go round to the front. 1895, look. Centro Espírita, Caridad Jesus. And you've got there also a brechu, which is a used clothes shop. Quite a lot of those in Brazil, brechus. Now this first one here, I've actually been in there because I know the owner, a lady. I think she's from Bahia, the state of Bahia. I visited, I spoke to her and her son the first time, then I came back and spoke to her when she was alone. She's contacted me a few times, but it's been a while since I've spoke to her. Now, I think this was an inheritance. Her father or her grandfather, I'm not sure, a Norwegian guy. He built that. He was come over here on ships, bringing merchant over. And he built that, but she never had the money to repair it, basically. And inside, all the ceilings are falling in. So she was saying she was thinking of going back to Bahia because her daughter lives there. I mean, she's getting on a bit, this lady is. Let me just knock on the door. Now I suspect she's gone. It looks abandoned, don't it? So that one, that's been renovated, all those two. Hey, it's a shame really, isn't it? But you need so much money to renovate them. Bit of a pier here, look. A guy with his net there for fishing. Tarafa. Little courtyard there. So you can walk all the way around here, look, around the water's edge. The town is up there, the centre anyway, but we'll go along here, right over to the other side. There's some big houses over there to look at. Sounds like they're doing some maintenance on that boat there, banging. Beautiful and peaceful apart from that noise. There's the Marina do Brazil. There's a marina boat, the what grey one there. So anyway, let's continue. So it's a one-way system around the town also, which is pretty common. Marina do Brazil, oh yeah, all the youngsters there doing the training. Oh, right in the middle of the town here, petrol station, toilets. Here we go, up here now. So you see the church up there behind the houses? There's a nice park up there also. We'll go up there, Praça. But first of all, down the bottom end. It's a nice big tree. Taxi rank there, right underneath. For the shade. There we go, look, some beautiful houses up here. So here we have the public market, look, Mercado. That's an old building. So it's not a market anymore, is it? This was probably a local market open every day, but now they're all individual cafes and kiosks. Here we go, look. San Francisco Do Sul. 570 years of history, colonial. Oh yeah. Baie Babitonga. So the Bay of Babitonga. There we go, look, a 400 milliliter of beer, what they call a shoppy, 10 reais. All decked out here. These guys here, three guys with the throw nets, what they call tarafas. They're obviously waiting, look, for, I imagine, mullet. Because now the cold weather's coming, the mullet season will be starting. So they're just looking out into the water until they see something, and then they'll throw the nets. Yeah, look at this also, waiting. Waiting patiently. There's lots of small fish there. Well, there we go, a better view of the front. There's a church in the background, and that's where we've come from, down there. What I read online about South Francisco Do Sul, a little bit of history. Before the Europeans arrived here, more than 500 years ago now, the Azorians and the Portuguese, there was indigenous people living here for more than a millennium. They mentioned 2 tribes, 2 different names. So there's a lot of history to the place. There's also a museum here. I think it's an oceanographic museum or something like that. So maybe one day I'll visit that. But it's beautiful and warm now. Well, it's been warm for a while, but it will drop cold later tonight, that's for sure. So now we're going to have a walk up to the Praça and the church, alright? Here we go, look. Tudo bom? Right, we'll have a walk down there before we go to the Praça. This here, this blue one, is a restaurant. Yeah, there's no date on there, but you can see they are old. There's some wealthy person who owned that originally, or who had that built. So this is a modern looking building, eh? I'm not sure what this is. It says República de Chile Consulado. Yes, it's the Chilean consulate. Speaking to the woman, I said, why? Not seen any more consulates around here. Why Chile? She said, because the port. I said, right, I understand. Now, one thing I will tell you, since I arrived in this South Francisco, not here in the historic town, when I arrived on the island, when I was looking for my campsite, I stopped at a few places and noticed a lot of people on the streets, like homeless people. And I actually had 2 people approach me, one woman and a child, and a guy asking me for money. Just looked, you know, more than normal. People walking around with bags and sat around with dogs. And then I've just walked up this street here and a guy's just asked me for money, and it looked like there were quite a few people homeless. So I don't know why there's so many in this area. Maybe because the port. I don't know. But it's not as if you see this many, for example, in Itajaí, the town I live in. You do see them, obviously, but not this many. Well, we're right down the bottom end near the port now. Just behind here is the port, and I think that museum is down here somewhere. Yeah, I think this could be part of the museum. But is there an entrance open? Maybe there. See, there's a mine there, look. Looks like they're doing some renovation work in this one. Look at these ceilings, eh? Yes, I've just looked at the sign there, and apparently the museum is here. I remember it being down here, but it's closed by the looks of it. They're doing renovation work. Hotel Zibamba, eh? Oh, we've got the cinema there, theatre. Theatre de November. Jeez. So we're just up. There's the Bank of Brazil up on the top road here near the church. Just around the corner here. Oh, there we are. And by the way, it's not right that time. It's getting on for 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So here we are, the Praça. The main Praça. Some nice trees. So what we got on this plaque here? 1982. Sounds like there's a school there. Kids screaming and shouting behind there. So that's it. Nice park, plenty of shade. Right then folks, I'll leave it at that then, this video. I'm going to be heading back very soon. Walk back to the bike and a steady ride back to the camp. So you've seen a bit of everything. We had a run along the scenic route to Barra do Sul, which is a fishing village. Very busy in the summer, that place is. Nice place. And then to São Francisco, to the island. Down to the camping. Family on the beach of Ervino. Camping family. Very nice. Oh, I spoke to the guy. I asked him if he was coming to see me before I go tomorrow. And he said, no, we're still in Blumenau until Thursday. Him and the family. So I said, well, I just want to know about paying you, to be honest. And he said, well, pay me by Pix. Right, so pay with the phone basically. So I said, alright, later on this evening, or I could leave the money there. No problem, he said. So really trust him, very nice. So you've seen the campsite, and now you've seen the historic town of São Francisco do Sul. Now for who doesn't know, Santa Catarina is the state in South Brazil. See you soon on the next one folks, hope you enjoyed it. Look after yourselves. Bye.